One Piece chapter 963 is out and it is fantastic. But before we get to the chapter, we normally talk about the cover page, and now we see a new pirate crew, the Germs pirate crew. And now these people, while they don't look like much and they probably aren't much, they're probably going to lose to the Capone gang, Beige, and the Fire Tank pirates. They have to be strong enough to get to the New World and make it to Dressrosa. And they said that they attacked the country while the king was away, meaning that they feel considerably confident about their power. So I'm looking forward to learning more about the Germs pirate crew. Not sure what the hell each of them are wearing, but I think they're pretty cool, So anyway, One Piece chapter 963 is here, Becoming Samurai. This chapter, of course, we're still in the flashback of Oden. We got a lot of Nekomamushi and Inuarashi stuff, or just scabbard stuff. There was something that was confirmed this chapter, and I'm not sure if a lot of people were asking that question, and it's the question of, was Nekomamushi and Inuarashi the first minks? Because that was a question. What was the hierarchy before them? And now we see it was a bunch of adults there on Zou before Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. And they heard of the pact with the Kazuki clan, and they took it upon themselves to leave Zou. Now, how they left Zou and actually found Wano, anybody's guess, but they found Wano. Anyway, in the last chapter, we saw that Kawamatsu had found Inuarashi and Nekomamushi on the shore. But now we see that some people found Kawamatsu, Inuarashi, and Nekomamushi, and they have them on a stake and they're ready to burn them. It's a crazy thing to execute children or small animals, but for them, they're looking at them like they were monsters. And of course, out of nowhere comes Chad Oden. He scolds them. He said they should be ashamed to be scared of kids. Just because somebody looks different than you doesn't mean you should be afraid of them. And it only highlights their ignorance, which was a great statement by Oden. What was hilarious though is that after all that, Oden says, well, farewell then. After all that, you're just gonna leave us like this? So that was a very funny moment that I really enjoyed. So of course, Oden brings these kids back to Kuri, the castle in Kuri. We have moments of them eating their fill. I think the most important thing that we got from this moment between Inu, Neku, Kawamatsu, Oden, and those people was the backstory of Kawamatsu, because we all figured that Kawamatsu could be a fishman, but because of the lore of Wano and the mythical creatures, we are like, well, maybe he actually is a Kappa, but he looked like a fishman, and he confirmed he was with his mother. They drifted to the country, the ship sank, asked for help. His mother was injured, so he couldn't return home, and people threw stones at them because they were fishmen, and his mother, she died, and with her dying breath, she told him, fishmen are always discriminated against in this world. You would be more likely to survive if you said or claimed to be a Kappa, and therefore Kawamatsu is now known as Kawamatsu the Kappa. A sad tale for sure, but finding out more about the scabbards and then getting the confirmation of Kawamatsu being a fishman, I'm enjoying that. Oden's response to all of that was like, you know what? Meeting you guys has made me realize that there are many creatures in the world, and I have yet to see them. Now I'm really excited for my next voyage. Take care. He was trying to kick them out of the castle. I said in my live reaction that going forward, when I want somebody to leave, or I'm just not feeling somebody, or just don't want to talk to you anymore, take care. That's the indication that I just don't want to interact with you anymore. Take care. Of course, they beg to stay and they end up joining Oden and his band of numbskulls. They then mention that the group is getting bigger, and of course, with all those people, they have to eat, so then they start running low on funds. They ask why they're low on funds though, and they pointed out that Oden is lending money to Orochi, so then this begs the question. First off, they said that he used to work for Yasu, so why isn't he working for Yasu anymore? My suspicion is that Yasu fired him after kind of putting two and two together and figuring out that Orochi is kind of a scumbag, and that could lead to why Orochi doesn't like Yasui and why he had him executed, basically because he got fired and made his life a living hell, because at this point, Oden is giving him money to survive. The question that I asked there was that why didn't Oden invite Orochi to the castle with them? If he's giving him money, you might as well just have him live with you. Remember in Wano before we saw a flashback with Yasu and Oden and Yasu scabbards, or with Oden scabbards, and Yasu was scolding them because they got caught trying to steal money. We got that flashback again from a different perspective per se. So we got the continuation of that where Yasu was trying to prepare the scabbards, prepare the retainers for Oden. Essentially he was saying, you're a band of ruffians, right? And Oden brought you up, but you're very coarse. You're very rough around the edges. You have to be better for him. Somehow the same message that he was saying back then, but now he's saying, use this money, get better clothes, learn about more things, learn some manners, learn how to speak, learn wisdom, teach yourselves, fill yourselves with knowledge so that you can be better for Oden, because one day that man will be the shogun of Wano. Very useful words, and these guys, they worked so hard to put all this into fruition. Something else that Yasu said. The people that should support Oden must be the best samurai in the entire country. So you see Ashura Doji training with Kinemon. And it's interesting that Kinemon back then used 2 swords. He was a 2-sword style user. Not sure if it was inspired by Oden, but back then he used 2 swords. I guess that's why it was highlighted or insinuated that Kinemon was as strong or slightly stronger than Ashura Doji back then. I'm not sure if that's the case, but he's sparring with Ashura Doji here. Maybe that made him better, and maybe he surpassed Ashura Doji at some point. Regardless, we see Denjiro trading, and Denjiro is starting to look a lot more like Koshiro. We see Ashura Doji, Izo, and then we see the Scabbards just reading and learning. A great moment is 3 years later, when Oden and his daimyo from Kuri were visiting the capital. They had the same perception of Oden, where they're like, well, hide your kids, hide your money, because him and his retainers are thugs anyway. So I don't blame them because they have a perception of Kuri. Kuri was a lawless area. Oden was a lawless person. So him going to Kuri and making people from Kuri and people around him, his actual retainers, they must be hoodlums. They must be thugs. When Oden and his retainers show up, 3 years later, Kinemon, Izu, Okiku, Denjiro, Kanjuro, Inoneku, Ashura Doji, they looked dignified. They said it looked like a shogun's procession. It also said their commanding presence could take your breath away. The onlookers were in such awe that some may have even dropped down to their knees. What I liked the most about this entire page was the conversation between Oden and his father. Because remember, Sukiyaki had to disown him back in the day. But he said, Oden, you've grown into a fine man indeed. And he says, well, I don't think I've changed, but I owe it to you. Then we get more information because Orochi is now working for Sukiyaki. So this snake, man, because it says that Oden came to visit after hearing his father taken ill. That's the reason why he came to the capital. But after seeing how upbeat his father was, he didn't have any worries anymore. But that was the last time he would ever speak to his father. So obviously Sukiyaki died because he got ill. Something that I thought about was that, how did he get ill? And does it have anything to do with Orochi working for him? I feel like Orochi poisoned him, or Orochi was the reason why he's ill. It could just be old age or whatever, but I won't put anything past Orochi at this point. The highlights of the chapter, of course, revolved around the Goat Deluxe Whitebeard. They've landed in Kuri, in Port Itachi, and the Moby Dick looks like it's hurt. It looks like it needs repairs. And we see the Whitebeard pirates, but this is 30 years ago. See Whitebeard, of course, Marco, Jozu Whitey Bay, Andre, Vista, Rakio, and Ipoida. All these people are not people you would just regularly remember because they're Whitebeard's allied captains. Currently they are. When we saw them at Marineford, they weren't Whitebeard's division commanders at the time. The only ones that were was Izo and Rakio. Of course, Izo wasn't shown here, so I'm not sure why I mentioned Izo, but it was Rakio. Whitey Bay and the other, well, Rakio and Vista, obviously. Whitey Bay and the others, they left and created their own crew, which makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you grow up and you want to just do your own thing. And with Whitebeard not wanting the One Piece anymore, just wanting to sail on the seas, that doesn't stop the ambitions of these other pirates, so that makes sense. The interesting thing here is Marco, right? Because Marco at this point, he's an apprentice on Whitebeard's ship. And something I asked was like, we know Whitebeard had battles with Gold Roger, and Shanks, when he approached Whitebeard's ship, he made it seem like he didn't know Marco at all. We were discussing and thinking, was Shanks being facetious? Was he just joking around? Does he really know Marco, but he was just making fun of him by saying, hey, you're Marco of the Whitebeard Pirates, aren't you? Join my crew. And Marco just told him to shut up. So maybe he did know Marco and they've interacted before, but this was just Shanks' way of, tongue-in-cheek way of making fun of Marco. So while Whitebeard is at the coast, at Port Itachi, Oden immediately leaves his castle, which is also in Kuri. They said a ship was spotted in Port Itachi. They're supposed to be pretty strong. And Oden left by himself to take them on. Remember, Oden liberated Kuri essentially by himself by taking on the entirety of Kuri by himself and taking out Ashura Doji. The thing is, this is the ultimate wank. And I'm saying that because at this point, Whitebeard is 40. Understand, the strongest man in the world, right, at this point, said, all of you stand back. Something's coming. Something incredible. And here comes Oden, full speed, in the words of King and Lightning, perfect form. And he says, congratulations on making it here. You have traversed all that terrible weather and the waterfall. I have been waiting for you. And Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world at that point, we're assuming, because Oda in Whitebeard's Vivid card said Whitebeard became the strongest man in the world while Roger was alive, or before Roger got executed. So here comes Oden. And Whitebeard says, this doesn't look good. And we have an amazing clash between Oden and Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. And Oden says, "My name is Kazuki Oden. We may not know each other, but I want you to let me join your crew." So what is going on here? Oden clashing with Whitebeard was in a form of disrespect. This was Oden's test. For Oden, I'm assuming he had haki. Observation haki obviously conquers, and for him to sense Whitebeard at the coast and attack immediately, I'm sure his thought process was, I feel like this guy is powerful, but I have to make sure. So in a way, it goes back to even Zoro, and Zoro saying he would not want to be under Luffy if he feels like he's stronger, in so many words. So for Oden, if Whitebeard can even block that slash or that attack, he wouldn't be deserving of being his captain. So that's why immediately he said, I've been waiting for you, waiting for someone that powerful. And after the clash, my name is Oden Kazuki. We may not know each other, but I want you to let me join your crew. Listen, I'm not sure how strong Oden is, but the hype that Oda is placing behind this man is immense. He is the ultimate man, the ultimate individual. And does it make sense to you guys now how Whitebeard was competing with Roger? Even though we felt like Whitebeard didn't have anyone on his crew, he had Oden. And I think Oden was enough to balance out the crews. Of course, Roger had Scopper and other people, but the main powerhouses that we know of, outside of Bullet and Scopper, really was Roger and Rayleigh. I don't want to downplay the others on Roger's crew because I'm sure they're strong as well, but those are the prominent characters. And that's how Whitebeard was competing, with his own powerhouse. So I think Oden is at least Rayleigh level. I think he was competing with him at that point. Man, this chapter, just fantastic. The comedy was great. We had the great clash at the end. More exposition on Oden, more exposition on Kawamatsu, more exposition on Inu and Neku. Love it. Great chapter. Really enjoyed this chapter. So guys, give me your thoughts. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? If you did either, just leave your thoughts below. I would like to hear it. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Instagram at bragod.ace. Follow me on Twitter at bragod.ace. Thank you guys again. Like, subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.